In the heart of rural America, hidden away from prying eyes and the relentless march of civilization, lay a forest steeped in darkness and dread, Devil's Land. Legend whispered of its malevolence, warning those who dared to listen that the shadows within held secrets darker than the blackest night. It was a place where the veil between the living and the dead was thin, and the boundary between reality and nightmare blurred. For generations, locals avoided Devil's Land, their stories passed down through hushed conversations and fearful glances. The forest was said to devour all who entered, leaving behind only the chilling echo of their screams. Superstitions and cautionary tales surrounded the infamous woods like a shroud, instilling a deep-seated fear that lingered in the hearts of those who knew better than to venture into its depths. The year was 1987, and a group of adventurous friends, drawn by the allure of the unknown and fueled by youthful bravado, decided to defy the warnings that echoed through the town. Mark, the charismatic leader with a penchant for danger, convinced his friends to embark on a journey into Devil's Land. His companions, a mix of skepticism and curiosity etched across their faces, hesitated but ultimately succumbed to the excitement that coursed through their veins. As the group delved into the forest, the air grew heavy with an ominous stillness. The towering trees loomed like spectral sentinels, their gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers eager to ensnare the unwary. The sunlight struggled to penetrate the thick canopy overhead, casting an eerie half-light on the forest floor. They followed a worn, winding trail that seemed to lead them deeper into the heart of Devil's Land. The farther they ventured, the more the atmosphere shifted, an intangible malevolence that clung to the air like a suffocating fog. Unseen eyes seemed to watch their every move, and the rustling leaves whispered secrets that sent shivers down their spines. As night descended upon the forest, the group set up camp, their laughter and banter attempting to drown out the unsettling sounds that surrounded them. A crackling fire offered little solace against the encroaching darkness. Mark, the fearless leader, dismissed the growing unease as mere superstition, encouraging his friends to embrace the thrill of the forbidden. But as the night wore on, the forest revealed its true nature. Strange shadows danced on the outskirts of the flickering firelight, and unsettling whispers echoed through the trees. The group's bravado began to wane, replaced by a gnawing anxiety that clawed at the edges of their sanity. The youngest of the group, Sarah, a doe-eyed girl with an affinity for the supernatural, suggested a séance to communicate with the spirits that supposedly haunted Devil's Land. Mark, always eager for a new thrill, readily agreed, dismissing the apprehension etched across the faces of his friends. They gathered in a circle, hands clasped together, as Sarah began to chant incantations that echoed through the darkness. The air grew thick with an otherworldly energy, and an oppressive silence settled over the group. Suddenly, the temperature plummeted, and an unearthly chill filled the clearing. The friends exchanged nervous glances as the forest seemed to come alive with unseen forces. Shadows twisted and contorted, taking on grotesque shapes that slithered through the underbrush. A haunting melody, reminiscent of a funeral dirge, resonated through the air, freezing the blood in their veins. As the séance reached its climax, a figure emerged from the shadows, a spectral presence that moved with an ethereal grace. The friends recoiled in horror as the ghostly figure revealed a face twisted in agony, its eyes reflecting a sorrowful despair that sent shivers down their spines. In a voice that echoed from the depths of the abyss, the spirit spoke, recounting a tale of betrayal and tragedy that had unfolded centuries ago within Devil's Land. The forest, it claimed, was cursed by the vengeful souls of those wronged, forever bound to its twisted realm. The friends, unwitting intruders, had disturbed the delicate balance that kept the spirits at bay. As the spirit's lament echoed through the clearing, the forest erupted into chaos. The once silent whispers grew into anguished screams, and the shadows coalesced into grotesque forms that surrounded the group. Panic set in as the friends realized the gravity of their trespass. Desperation fueled their flight through the twisted labyrinth of Devil's Land. The forest itself seemed to conspire against them, trees shifted and roots snaked out like serpents, attempting to ensnare them. Unearthly wails followed their every step, driving them to the brink of madness. One by one, the friends succumbed to the malevolent forces that pursued them. Mark, the fearless leader, vanished into the shadows, his agonized cries fading into the night. Sarah, the instigator of their ill-fated seance, was swallowed by the inky darkness, her pleas for mercy silenced by the haunting melody that echoed through Devil's Land. Only one friend, a quiet and reserved soul named Emily, managed to escape the clutches of the forest. She stumbled out of Devil's Land, her sanity hanging by a thread, and collapsed at the edge of the tree-line. The once curious group, now reduced to a tragic tale, had paid the price for their defiance of the warnings that had echoed through the town for generations. Emily, the lone survivor, carried the harrowing memories of Devil's Land with her for the rest of her days. The forest, forever shrouded in its malevolent reputation, continued to claim the unsuspecting souls who dared to venture into its depths. And so, Devil's Land remained a chilling testament to the darkness that could lurk within the most unsuspecting corners of the world, a haunting reminder that some places are better left untouched, their secrets buried in the shadows of the unknown. Emily stumbled out of the accursed Devil's Land, her breaths ragged and her heart pounding like a drum of impending doom. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie glow on the outskirts of the forest. The air outside Devil's Land felt different, as though a weight had been lifted, yet Emily couldn't shake the feeling that the shadows clung to her like a sinister residue. As she gasped for air, Emily realized she was alone. The forest had claimed her friends, swallowed them whole into its abyss of torment. The echoes of their terrified voices lingered in her mind, haunting her every step. She could still hear Mark's confident laughter and Sarah's curious whispers, now distorted by the malevolent forces that had ensnared them. Dazed and disoriented, Emily stumbled towards the town, her legs weak and unsteady. The journey felt like an eternity, each step a reminder of the horror she had witnessed. The moonlight cast long, gnarled shadows on the path, and every rustle of leaves sent shivers down her spine. The once familiar world seemed alien, as though Devil's Land had tainted her perception of reality. As Emily reached the outskirts of town, she hesitated at the edge of the forest. The memories of the nightmarish ordeal were etched into her soul, but an inexplicable force compelled her to look back. She turned, her eyes drawn to the looming darkness of Devil's Land. A whisper, barely audible, beckoned her to return. The forest seemed to pulse with an unnatural energy, a siren's call that promised answers to the questions that clawed at the recesses of her mind. Overwhelmed by a strange compulsion, Emily took a tentative step towards the forbidding tree-line. The shadows deepened, and the air thickened with a palpable tension. The forest, once a sinister backdrop to her nightmare, now seemed to embrace her with an unsettling warmth. It was as if Devil's Land had claimed a piece of her soul, forging an inexplicable connection that transcended the boundaries of reason. Driven by an inexplicable urge, Emily ventured back into the heart of Devil's Land. The forest welcomed her with a symphony of rustling leaves and whispered secrets. The moon, obscured by the dense canopy, cast an ethereal glow on the winding path ahead. As she delved deeper, the oppressive silence enveloped her like a suffocating cocoon. The spirits of the forest watched her every move, their mournful whispers echoing through the trees. Emily felt their presence, an intangible force that seemed to guide her through the labyrinth of shadows. Strange symbols adorned the gnarled trunks, glowing faintly in the moonlight, as though the very essence of Devil's Land pulsed through the ancient wood. As Emily walked, the forest began to reveal its secrets. Visions of the past materialized around her, specters of bygone eras trapped in a timeless dance of sorrow and regret. The tortured souls of those who had succumbed to Devil's Land's malevolence appeared before her, their eyes pleading for release from the eternal torment that bound them to the haunted realm. Among the spectral figures, Emily recognized the faces of her friends. Mark's once confident demeanor was replaced by a haunted expression, and Sarah's eyes, once filled with curiosity, now held the weight of 1,000 unanswered questions. The spirits spoke in unison, their voices a harmonious chorus of despair, recounting the tragic tales that had unfolded within Devil's Land's shadowed embrace. The forest itself seemed to narrate its history, a tale of betrayal, bloodshed, and a curse that transcended the boundaries of time. Emily listened with a heavy heart, the weight of the revelations settling upon her shoulders like an ancient burden. Devil's Land, it seemed, was not merely a place, it was a living entity, a malevolent force that fed on the pain and suffering of those who dared to cross its threshold. As Emily ventured deeper into the heart of Devil's Land, the boundaries between the physical and spiritual worlds blurred. The very fabric of reality seemed to warp and twist, revealing glimpses of a nightmarish realm that existed beyond mortal comprehension. Faces contorted in agony stared out from the shifting shadows, and ghastly apparitions clawed at the edges of Emily's sanity. She felt a presence, an ancient consciousness that pulsed through the roots of the twisted trees. The forest itself spoke to her, its voice a symphony of anguish and despair. The spirits guided her towards a clearing bathed in an otherworldly glow. In the center stood a gnarled tree, its branches reaching towards the heavens like skeletal fingers. As Emily approached, a spectral figure emerged from the trunk of the ancient tree. The spirit, ethereal and mournful, revealed itself as the guardian of Devil's Land, the arbiter of its curse. It spoke of a pact forged in the depths of time, a covenant that bound the spirits to the forest and condemned those who trespassed to an eternity of suffering. The guardian's eyes, pools of sorrowful wisdom, bore into Emily's soul. It revealed that she, by venturing back into Devil's Land, had become a conduit for the spirit stories, a vessel through which their anguish and regrets could be heard. The forest sought release, a chance to unburden itself from the weight of centuries of sorrow. With a solemn plea, the guardian beseeched Emily to share the tales of Devil's Land with the world. Only through the acknowledgment of its cursed history could the forest find a semblance of peace. The spirits, bound by the ancient pact, yearned for redemption, and Emily, as the chosen messenger, held the key to their liberation. Torn between the horrifying truth she had uncovered and the responsibility thrust upon her, Emily hesitated. The burden of the forest's dark legacy weighed heavily on her shoulders, and the line between friend and foe, reality and nightmare, became increasingly blurred. In the clearing, the spirits gathered, their eyes fixed on Emily with a mix of desperation and hope. The guardian's voice resonated through the air, imploring her to break the cycle of suffering that had plagued Devil's Land for centuries. The forest itself seemed to pulse with anticipation, as though the very fabric of reality held its breath. With a heavy heart, Emily accepted the mantle of the forest's reluctant messenger. She vowed to share the stories of Devil's Land with the world, to unveil the darkness that lurked within its twisted depths. The guardian nodded in approval, its form dissipating into the ethereal mist that hung in the air. As Emily emerged from the heart of Devil's Land, the first light of dawn painted the sky with hues of pink and gold. The forest, once a realm of nightmares, seemed to exhale a sigh of relief. The oppressive shadows receded, and the lingering echoes of tortured spirits faded into the morning breeze. The townsfolk, oblivious to the supernatural events that had transpired, found Emily on the outskirts of Devil's Land. She appeared changed, her eyes holding a wisdom beyond her years. She spoke of the forest's tragic history, of the souls trapped within its malevolent grasp. The townspeople listened in hushed silence, their skepticism giving way to a haunting realization that some mysteries were best left undisturbed. Word spread, and Devil's Land became a cautionary tale, a chilling legend whispered in the dead of night. Emily, burdened by the knowledge she had gained, became a recluse, haunted by the memories of that fateful night. The forest, having shared its secrets through her, seemed to slumber, its cursed history acknowledged but not forgotten. As the years passed, Devil's Land remained a place of dread, its ominous reputation deterring all but the most foolhardy from venturing into its depths. The guardian, now a spectral guardian of the forest's newfound peace, watched over its domain with a somber gaze, ensuring that the delicate balance between the living and the dead remained undisturbed. And so, Devil's Land became a timeless enigma, a dark chapter in the annals of the supernatural. The legends persisted, a testament to the thin veil that separated the world of the living from the realm of the unknown. The forest, once a place of unspeakable horrors, now stood as a somber reminder that some secrets were better left buried in the shadows of the past.